Hello guys, welcome to another YouTube tutorial. My name is Lawson Luke. So in this video we'll be looking at HTML and CSS at the beginners level. So this video is purely targeted at beginners. So if you already have some working knowledge of HTML and CSS, you're welcome to skip. But if not, if you still want to go ahead, I believe you can still learn a thing or two from this tutorial. So let's get started. Now what is HTML? HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It is a standard language used for creating web pages. It tells the browser how to structure the contents of your web page that you're creating. HTML elements are also represented by tags. A tag usually consists of like a start and an end tag, and with the contents in between the tag. We'll see a description of that in a bit. So the tags are not usually shown in the browser, but are used to structure the contents display. Okay, so let's see a demonstration of this. So go ahead and create a new HTML file. I'm using Visual Studio Code editor. Open up your favorite editor, the one you're comfortable with, but I think Visual Studio Code is a good recommendation if you don't have any in mind. Okay, so this is the file I created, HTML index.html. Okay, so what I want to do here, since I'm using Visual Studio Code editor, I do not necessarily have to start writing all these tags here. This is an overview here, and you see we have the talk type HTML, and then we have this root element HTML. Okay, with the heading and the title and the body and the head. This is the close of the head section. This is the body, opening of the body section. This is the close of the body section. Now you can see here what I was talking about earlier on. These are tags. Okay, this here is a start tag, is an opening tag, and see where it's being closed here with this forward slash. This forward slash indicates that the tag is being closed. And for the most part, for every tag that you open in HTML, you have to close it, which you can see this is opened, this is closed. So this is the opening tag, this is closing tag. So you can see the ones with the forward slash. Okay, as well. Though there are other standalone tags that do not have the opening and closing feature. They're just there on their own. Tags like I think the break and the horizontal line, image tag as well, which we'll see the demonstration of these examples in a bit. So let's go back to Visual Studio Code, put some writings. So since I'm using Visual Studio Code, like I said, I want to have some shortcuts with Emmet. So Shift and 1 gives me this exclamation mark, and we'll just press enter, and then we have this placeholder displayed for us, nice and easy. Now this has to do with the character encoding, the first one you see here, this meta tag. Now this one has to do with responsiveness of the web page. The responsiveness of the web page, it makes the content of the web page fit in nicely for mobile display. Doesn't necessarily guarantee that all your contents like images and other elements will be automatically responsive when you put that feature. You have to do some workaround on those elements as well, but this sets the tone for it. It gives it the mobile rendering. Okay, so this is the title of this here. You can see title document, so you can go ahead and change the title to what it is you want to change it to. I think I might want to change this to let me just call this HTML lessons, so we can check that quickly in the browser. To open this, I'll just go to where I created it, HTML projects, and this is it here. I'll just open it with Google Chrome. Here, so there we have this, which you can see right here. So you can see when I hover on it here, you can see I have the title HTML lessons that I created there. So you can see it's empty because there's nothing inside of it. So we're going to put some content in it. Yeah, so that contents will be put right here and within the body. Okay, so HTML has so many tags, depending on what it is you want to arrive at. There's the paragraph, there's the heading, there's the image, and lots of those. So I'm going to just write a paragraph here, which paragraph in English has to do with new line of thought. So I'm just going to say this is a paragraph here. So we'll save this, Control S and save. If we come to this and refresh, and then you can see we have our first reading statement here. This is a paragraph and being shown on the browser. So like I said earlier on, the tags are not being shown, on the browser, but it's just to structure the contents on the display of the web page. Okay, so I can go ahead and write as much as I want to write here. This is a paragraph. So this is HTML lesson, so I can save this as well, so you can see this will be shown on the same line. Okay, because paragraph has to be a new line of thoughts. So if I want this to come to the next line, or want to have another line of thoughts, what I can do is to create another paragraph. There I can create another paragraph right here. So this is another paragraph here, and I will save it, and I will come back here and refresh, and I see we have this here. Alternatively, if you want this to come to the next line, you can also use the break feature within that paragraph tag as well. Like what I'm talking about is this here. We can put this break here. Like I told you, this that there's some tags that have they do not have the opening and closing feature. There are other tags too, tags like break here. So what is coming after this break tag will be thrown to the next line. If I save this, I will refresh, and you can see we have this is showing up on the next line, as you can see. Okay, so hopefully that makes a lot of sense. Now let's do heading tags. We have H1 here, this heading. Okay, so save this and refresh this, so you can see we have H1 right here. And we have other degrees of header display, and we have H2. This is heading, and we have H3 as well. We have H4. And we have H5. And finally we have H6. Oops. Okay, so you can see I think I'm just going to let the demonstration speak for itself. So let's come here and refresh. So you can see the boldness and the boldness begins to decrease from H1 to H2, H3, H4, H5, H6. So H6 appears to be the smallest. Okay, so if we start in ascending order, you can see this this is way bigger than this, 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 and this is way bigger than this. So these are different heading elements or header elements that you can use to render your title. You can use this for your title in very prominent if you feel that it should be prominent, or if you can use this for subtitle, okay, or depending on what it is you're trying to build anyway. So this gives you a whole lot of options to use or to choose from. But also bear in mind that you can also make your text way bigger than this H1 and H2 by using the font size feature in CSS. We'll get to CSS in a bit. Okay. All right. So you can see we have that attributes here. Elements here. Okay. So we also look at HTML attributes. Attributes has to do with they provide additional information about an element, okay, and they're always specified, at the start tag. For instance, let's say I have this link here, this anchor tag, href. Now this href now is an attribute. Like I said, attributes provide additional information about the element here. So if I have this anchor tag here, href here, let's say let's click on Google, for instance. So here what I want to do is pass in Google's web page. So this will be https google.com or whatever URL you want to pass in there. So I'm going to pass in Google's URL right here. So now this is a placeholder text, is Google here, and this is the link to these particular placeholders, so that when I click on this Google, it takes me to whatever link I'm passing here. Okay, so we'll save this and see how this goes here. So you can see now this looks it's underlined and it has this hypertext feature, which if you can notice. So if I click on this now, it's going to redirect me to Google's web page, which it has, as you can see. Now on the same window, okay, on the same window. Now there are other attributes that you can add to this. Let's say, for instance, you have a web page. You want to open up another web page, but you still want the user to have this window maintained. What you can do here is pass another attribute here. So we can say here target equals underscore blank, like this. So what this would do is that when you click on this, it will maintain this current page and open another window to display that URL that you've passed in there. So let's see an example of this. We'll refresh this, okay, and click on this now. So you can see this is opened, another window is opened. So you can see the previous one here is also maintained, okay, because of this target underscore blank attributes that you can see here. So it makes a lot of sense for that here. To insert an image, let's insert an image into this here. So what I can do, I think I should I should import this my folder to the workspace. We'll import the folder to workspace. Just give me a minute. I think HTML projects, okay. Let's make changes, save, yes. Okay, so I have this sitting here now. I have a workspace for this folder. So what I want to do next, we need to have the image that we want to display, whether sitting in a folder. I prefer it sitting in a folder, so that you can have you don't just have random images being thrown around around your project folder. So what I can do is to create a new folder here. So I'll just call this folder images, like this. So now I'm going to grab whatever image I want to render on the browser and put within this folder. So I think I have a couple of images on my desktop, so I'm just going to grab that. And for instance, I'm going to grab this image here. I'm going to copy this and I'll go right back here. So this is my folder. I'll paste it in. So the name of the image is subscribe, the PNG, which you can see. So now to cover that image, I'm just going to do this img tag. This is also a self-closing tag as well. It doesn't have the opening and closing features that other tags like paragraph and the header tags have. So we have img, which stands for image. Then we have src, which stands for source. Okay, so now it's one of the benefits of using this editor. It gives you like a link to whatever you've passed in there. So you can see it's trying to redirect me to this link here. So I'm going to pass this here, and inside here I want to choose this image, you subscribe. So you can see my folder, this is the name of my folder, images, and this is the image that's inside the folder, subscribe.png. So in case this does not pop up for you, you have to write it yourself manually, and then you also want to maintain the name of the exact name of the image, otherwise you have some error. It won't display in a set list. Okay, so I can just do this here and just close this like this. So I can save this and I'll come here and refresh. I can see I have my image being shown here. All right, so that makes a lot of sense. If we want to reduce the width and the height of the image, what we can do that with CSS, but that we can also do that with HTML as well. We can do width here, just put this width attribute here, and then we can do what we can do maybe 300 pixel, 400 pixel. Let me do maybe 400 pixel or 2 and save this. So you can see it's smaller now. As you can see, reduce the size. I'm going to make it bigger so that if I make this maybe 900, I think that should be way bigger. Okay, so here you can see we have this. Now, if I you can see we have this image here. It's not responsive in a sense. It's not responsive in a sense that you can see there's this vertical horizontal scroll bars that you can see. We have to scroll from left to right to see the whole exact picture, because like I said the first time, just putting this meta tag here does not guarantee that all your HTML elements will be responsive. You have to set that yourself using CSS. Awesome. One way we can set this to be responsive, without even calling CSS, is that instead of using pixel, we can use percent. So here, for instance, I'm going to use 50%. It's one trick that you can use. So if I should refresh this, so you can see here. Now, if I should do this, so you can see the image is just scaling nicely because of this percent feature. It's making it responsive. So it's adjusting to the different display of the screen, which you should take that into cognizance if you're building if you're designing a web page. So you can see percent works fine, and pics, especially when it comes to the size, of images, as you can see here. Okay. So one thing I can do is that I can make this image clickable if I want to, if I have to. I think I should do that. It's pretty much the same thing with what we've done here. It's just that what we can do here, we can do this ahref equals to. Now here we can pass in whatever we want to pass in. Let's say, for instance, I want the user to, I want this, I think I should click on this first. I want the fact that when the user clicks on this image, it should display the image maybe bigger, just only the image on the web page. I can do that, and I'm what I'm in the process of doing. Okay, excuse me. So I have this href tag here. So now here I'm not passing any URL links. I can pass a URL link if I want to, but then I want this image to also be opened up. I want this link to be link to the image to be passed here. We need this href here. I can also put the target underscore blank here, or I can just maybe I should just leave that for this one. Okay, but you know what it does. Okay. So next, this image tag will be in between this my anchor element here. So as you can see here, I can save this. Come here, and you can see now this hand is being shown to me, which just tells me that this is a clickable element. So if I click on it, I get this here, as you can see. So go back and I click on it, I get this. And so you can see. Alright, so we go back and I get this. Okay, another thing I can do, I can pass in something called the title element for this image here. Title has to do with more like description of this image here. Here. So I can see title. What do I pass? I can see my image, for instance. Save this. Can come here and refresh this, so you can see. Should have this in a bit. See my image, being showed here. Okay, being shown. All right. So that makes a lot of sense. What I can do next now, I can put an alt attribute. Alt attribute is also, I think it helps in your SEO ranking as well. So I can put an alt attribute. What alt attribute does is that if, for instance, the image is not loading, or there is the network is slow, or there's network failure, or the image resource cannot be found, instead of it just showing something like a weird image display, it's going to bring up that alt attribute that you describe. For instance, I'm going to put a conscious error on this the name of this image, this subscribe, for instance. I'm going to take out this E and save this. So I want to demonstrate what I'm talking about here. So you can see here we have this broken image here that you can see. All right. So, but you can see it's also picking the title element here. Interestingly, okay. But then you should also put the alt attributes. I think that's the recognized one, alt here. You can see subscribe. Save this here. What I can do is refresh this again, so you can see it's picking the alt now, subscribe. So you can see if there's no alt, it looks to see if you can find the title. If there's no title, it just shows the broken image link there. So if I save this now, correct that and save and refresh, see we get the main thing being shown here. Okay, so as you can see, hopefully this makes a lot of sense. Now you can see to style it, we don't really have the website is really not that beautiful, as you can notice, because there are no stylings. We're just looking at how to get started with HTML as well. If you feel before I go to the styling, the CSS, if you feel maybe you want to use the title attributes in a different way. For instance, we can do this H2 here, and then I can put UNICEF, or I should put UNDP right here. So here what I can do, I can see title equals to United Nations Development Program. I'm going to spell program the British way, so all right. So I save this here. So when I hover on this, so you can see the title should show in a bit. So you can see we have it here, United Nations Development Program. Okay, so if you feel you want to do that, kind of makes a lot of sense. So it's called a tooltip, and that's the name for this. It's a tooltip. Okay, now also notice that the spellings used for this particular HTML, for the HTML attributes, the head, even for color, in for the CSS, as we shall see in a bit, the spellings are purely American spellings. So that you have it, and know that if your spelling is wrong, for instance, you want to write color, COLOR, and you write COLOUR, it will not work because it's targeted with American spelling. So we'll see that what I just talked about in a bit. So let's move over to CSS and see what CSS is about. Here, so CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet. What it does is that it helps in defining the styles and design of a web page. Okay. Now there are three ways CSS can be used as regards HTML. The first is inline. We can use CSS inline. We're going to do the demonstration. You can use embedded, and then we can use an external style sheet as well. So we're going to do these three examples and see how it works out for us. Let's get back here. So now you can see we have all these written here. Now supposing now, for instance, let's come to this here. Supposing, for instance, I want this text to have a different color, maybe red, for instance. What I can do here, now I'm demonstrating the inline CSS. Inline CSS has to do with you using the CSS tag within the HTML element itself. Okay, within the HTML element, usually on the first HTML element. Okay, so what we can do here, we'll write style. So when you start writing style, the HTML knows that this guy's trying to call CSS, so it listens for what you're doing. So we'll write style equals to, then we'll use a quotation mark like this. Okay, nice and easy. So we'll pass in whatever attribute it is we want to pass. I want to change the color, so like I said, we'll write color, American spelling. here. Then we'll pass this column here. So that's why I love this editor. It's giving me a whole color range of color suggestions that I can use here. So I can choose any of this color that I want to choose. These are legit HTML colors. You can go check that out. I think I'll show you that in a bit. I can choose any of these colors. Or I can just choose red if I don't want to use theirs. I can just choose red. So you can see I have red, even popping up here for me like this. Then I'll save this. So what I can do next is to refresh this. So you can see I've succeeded in changing the color of these elements here. So changed successfully. Okay, so if I want to center it, the two ways to center it, I'm going to show you the old way, not recommended anyway. With HTML, we can center this H1 by doing this here, by just calling center. I think this is a deprecated tag, which you can see it's even showing me red. Okay, so I just want to show you the previous way of doing it. So here you can see it's in the center. Now, alternatively, if we don't want to do this, I'll just leave that. So what we can do, we can still do style equals to align. I think it should be text align. So I'll just call center here and save this. So if I save this here, you can see I get the same effect here. But like I said, this is just for demonstration purpose. The first one I did, the center tag, is for demonstration purpose. It's not something I'll recommend for you to use. You can use this text align, CSS text align. Okay, so when it even comes to styling, alignment, and colors and things like that, it's actually recommended that you use CSS to do all of those necessary modifications that you want to make on your site. So it's very difficult, if not impossible, to write a good HTML web page, or design a good HTML web page without using CSS. Once in a while you need to style, document, and bring in some, and just generally have some great look and feel of the web page. So I think CSS comes in handy for that there. So that's the difference between CSS and HTML. The CSS is the HTML is the markup language used to structure the display of the web page, while CSS has to do generally with the styling of your web page. Okay, so now you can see I have this here. Makes a lot of sense. If I want to, I think maybe I should show you that color here, which you can see here. I think I have a color chart. Okay, so this is a color chart. In case you need to have, I think I'm going to put this link in the description here of this video, so you can check it out. Okay, so this gives you a whole different shades of color. You can see we have different shades of green, different shades of blue, shades of purple, yellow, orange, and whatever color it is you're looking for. Anyway, so you can have that here. So it makes a lot of sense when you use this one. So these are color codes. I think I should demonstrate the color codes, which you can see here. There are no CSS names like we have red, blue, green, orange. We have this known as hexadecimal color code. Hex means 6, hexadecimal 6 based on number system. So here, let's say for instance I want to change the color to maybe I want to use this green here. So what I can do, I can copy this. You can see this one right here. I'll just copy this, and then I come to where I want to use it. I'm going to replace it with this one here. So instead of having this, I'm going to paste this here. So, but then now know that you have to use this hash sign here for it to work. So you can see it's been picked now. I have to use the hash sign. Don't forget the hash sign. Don't use the hash sign, it won't work, and you'll be surprised, why it's not working. So if we come here and I refresh this, so you can see the color is changed to green. All right. So if I want to change the color of the background color, I can also do that as well. But before I change the background color, I think I should show you there's another way you can use your color, which is the RGBA. RGB. I'll just leave the A for now, but I think I'll demonstrate in this video. You can see RGB stands for red, green, blue. Okay, the A stands for alpha. It's also another way to use your color. For instance, you want to make a color maybe transparent, you want to make a background transparent, you can use the RGBA feature. It makes a lot of sense to add some nice style into that. I think I'm going to demonstrate this for the background color here. So let's say I have this here. I want to change the background color of these elements. So to do that, what I'll do, come to the body. Here you can see the body tag here. So I'll say style equals, I'm using CSS as it's obvious. I can say background color, which you can see this attribute for me. Yeah, so I don't want to use any of these. Like I said, I want to use RGB, red, green, blue. I think I'll do red, green, blue, then I'll check it out and come and do the alpha part of it. So I want to use maybe this first one, this maroon. The CSS color name is maroon. The color code, I'm going to put this link in the description as well. The color code is this here, #8, 000. Now the RGB value is 12800. So the red, the first one, 128 for red, 0, and for green, 0 for blue. So if I should substitute that in this code here, so here I'll put 128. Here I'll put 0. Here I'll put 0 as well. So I'll save this. Okay, come here and we'll refresh, so you can see I have this here showing up for me. The background of this web page has been changed. Okay, so I talked about the alpha feature part of it. So we can use RGBA. Okay, A stands for alpha. It has to do with, alpha has to do with the opacity of the web page, how opaque you feel the color should be, or how transparent you want it to be. So the values, if we say 1 means that it's a no see-through, it's very opaque. Then we have it starts dwindling from 0.9, 0.8, 0.7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 0.1, 0.0, it'll just fade away. So for instance, you can see I want to use 0.5, so I think that should be a nice demonstration, and I'll save this. Now take note of the color as it is here, and before I refresh the page, so see how the color is. So I'm going to refresh the page so you can see how the color is now. You can see, so we have this nice transparency feature, on it. So this is actually useful, especially when you're doing some advanced web page design. Let's say you want to have an image at the background, and then you want to have a color layered over the particular image. So you do not want the image to be hidden by the opacity of the or the opaqueness of the color. You just want the for the most part, you want it to be a see-through image, so you can use this feature, this transparency feature. Makes a lot of sense if you want to do that. Yeah. So I'm going to put this RGB link in the description, so you can have a list of all this. So for every conceivable colors that this website have written, they have the RGB aspect of it as well. So you can see here we have this. Okay. All right, so if I want to change the background of this here, if I want to change the background, what I can do is to say, instead of using column, I'm gonna take this out. I can say background image here. So I'm gonna pass my URL within here. Okay. So the URL I'm going to pass will be, let's see if I'm doing the right thing, images / I think I should do this, images / subscribe.png. Okay, so save this. I'll come right back here, and then so you can see we have this here. So you can see the image is repeating itself in the sense that because it's not really big enough to cover the whole web page. So it tries to form some repetitions. Don't forget, this one is the one that we use with the image tag. Why this ones you can see underneath it are the is the background. So what we can do to make it fit, we can call here. I think we could call background repeat. So we can say no repeat. Save this here. So you can see it's not repeating, but then it's not covering the whole thing. So what we can do next to make it cover, we can call background size. So what I can do is just say cover. Yeah, save this. So come over here and refresh this, so you can see it's covering now. So you can see it makes a lot of sense. Choose to use whatever image it is you want to use there, if it works fine for you. Okay, so you can see there's a way to change the background of your web page. Okay, hopefully that makes sense here. All right. Okay, so there are some times that let's say if we do let's do a let's do, we've done inline, so I think we should do let's see how we can do for embedded CSS. So for embedded CSS, what we can do, embedded just means that instead of specifying the styles here within the HTML tag, we can come and specify them up here. Okay, for instance, we can do this here. We'll write our style tag right here. Within the head tag, it has to be within the head tag. Okay, so then we can structure our elements. So we can say, for instance, the P, all P elements should be, the color should be maybe red, for instance. Okay, so what I can do, what I can do is that I think I'll just take out the background image so that you can see, you have an idea of what I'm trying to demonstrate here. So I'll just take out this background image. Hopefully you've gotten hold of it. Okay, so I'll save this here. I'll refresh. So you can see every paragraph tag will be will be red. Okay, even if I add something new to be red. I'm just going to add something new so that you can see. Where do I add it? P here. This is yet another paragraph. So I'll save this here and I'll refresh this. So you can see it's red. Wow, because I gave it an instruction that all colors, for this paragraph should be red. That's why it's red. Okay, so it makes a lot of sense here. So, but then know that HTML will give preference to inline. Okay, then to whether it prefers inline. So if you have a conflicting style in your web page, let's say for instance, I have a style here. Let me just call this style equals. I said the color for this is blue. I think I should use this blue as 36C. Okay, makes a lot of sense. So save this. So what it is, I think I'll just let the demonstration speak for itself. You can see this is blue. It's blue because it gives preference to inline styling. So if there are conflicting stylings or the conflicting styles in your web page, it's going to give preference to the inline one. Okay, so I hope that makes a lot of sense. So let's say for instance here we'd set the paragraph color should be red, but here we're coming to say no, the color shouldn't be red, it should be blue. So it's going to obey this inline rather than obeying whether the external or the embedded. I guess so. This is the embedded way of using CSS. We can do more than that. We can say H1 for instance, H2 with the comma, H3, all elements. Okay, we use a comma actually. Okay, H4. Okay, say the color should be the color should be maybe what I use now. Sea green. I think I've used green before. I want to use something different. Yellow. Okay, very, very colorful, and just for demonstration purpose. So you can see, just take note of the H1. Yeah, so you can see this is yellow. Now H1 is not yellow because this is not yellow because, like I told you earlier on, that it gives preference to inline styling. So you can see this have some inline styling, this green color. That's why it's not obeying, it's discarding this instruction here. Okay, so you can see H1, H2, and H4 tags, heading tags will be this color yellow. So if I add another H1 tag or another H2 tag or another H4 tag to this document, it will get the color of yellow. Okay, so another thing we can do here, for still on the HTML CSS styling, I can call this div tag right here. Okay, I can call this div tag right here. So what I can do now here, I want to give this attribute of class equals to let me call this back, for instance, this some random callings there. So there's a div tag. These HTML elements. So this has an attribute of you have this class here. So this has this back here. So if I want to refer to this particular div tag that has this keyword here, that has its back, here as a keyword, what I'll do, I'll say dot back. Right. So you can see, even if I come here, I don't think I will see anything here. The div is there, but it's not being recognized because there are no stylings to it. There's nothing even within that particular div tag there. So what I can do, I can set the width, I can set the length, I can set the height, and I can set the background color, for that particular div tag that you can see, that you see here. So what I'll do here for this, I can set width to since I want it to be responsive, I can say 50%. I can set height to maybe 30 VH here. Then I can set background color to, I think I'll just use the RGBA here. Let's go and see if I have a reference of this. What color do I want to use? Maybe coral 255, 127 and 80. So here I'll say 255. Here should be 127, and here should be 80. Now for the alpha, I will say 0.5 or 0.5. Was 0.5 anyway. So here. Let me see what I've done. Okay, so let's refresh this. So you can see we have this being shown now. Okay, so have this being shown. If we wanted to cover this whole section, what we can do to just make the width 100% here. So we read this 100%, just cover the whole section. So if I try to do this, you can see it's responsive. There are no horizontal scroll bars here. Given is responsive because I use percent. This is responsive as well because I used percent. So it's one trick, there. Alright, so now that we have this, we can write whatever it is we want here within this div tag. So here I can write what it is I want to write, paragraph. This is a div tag, just something very random. Or you can choose to we can put an image there, whatever it is you want to put there. Just go around and go ahead and see how you can mess around with it. Okay. All right. So before I conclude this tutorial, what I think I can do, I think we should demonstrate a menu. Let's design a menu with just HTML and CSS and see how it works out, for us. So before I do that menu design, I think I should demonstrate the last one, which is the external style sheet. For the external style sheet, and what I can do here, within here, I'll just create a folder and call it CSS here. So I can create a new file here. So I'll just call this whatever name.css. So style.css could be whatever. Usually style, that's being used, CSS here. So create it. So now to do this, what I can do is that I can transfer all this. I'll just transfer all this. I'm not going to write something new, but I'll transfer all this to this one. So you can see, since this is a style sheet, it has this .css extension. I do not have to start writing style tag again here within the style.css file. There's no need for that. Okay, so I'll transfer the styles here and save them. So here I want to get rid of this one. So I think I made a mistake somewhere here. Okay, I'll save this. So I want to get rid of this one here, of this embedded. I'll save this. Now I can see if I come here and refresh, some of these stylings will go. So you can see there's a difference now. The stylings out. This is out, for instance, and I think this one here is out. Okay. Now because I have not linked this style.css file to this HTML document. So what I need to do now is to link it. So to link it, I'll come right here. The linking is done within the head section. It has to be within the head section. Take it outside the head section, it won't work. So within the head section, we'll call this tag called link. Okay, so we'll call this rel relative equals style sheet. And then so we'll put href here. So this will be the name of this folder. My style script is within the CSS folder. So it will be css/style.css. As easy as that. So we close it like this. So we'll save this here. So we'll come back to this and refresh. Oops, still do not have it. Problem is that I'm creating this. Actually created the folder inside these images. That's not what I want to do. I'm just going to bring it out here. So move. Okay, so the folder is on its own now, not within this images folder here. So hopefully this should work out fine. So I'll save this. We'll come right back to where we'll have it. So you can see everything is working afresh now. So it makes a lot of sense. Okay. All right. So that's using external style sheet. We've demonstrated inline, embedded, and external style sheet. So for closing, let us do. I think I should do this one so that at least you have something worthwhile from this. I believe all these have been worthwhile anyway. So let's do the navigation bar or the menu, as most would like to call it, for this particular one. So we're just going to do in menu. Nice and easy. Here. So it's to create a menu, and the first thing we'll do here, it should be the first thing in the body. So that's what we'll do. So it should be the first thing in the body. So we'll say here I'm gonna call let's call this. Let's give a div here. Just call this class equals to container, for instance. So here I'm going to have a nav tag right here. So I'm going to have a list tag. Okay, I didn't demonstrate list. I'm going to have a list tag here. So I think I'll do. I should demonstrate this list tag in a bit. List. Here, let's have home. And we'll see how the list tag works anyway when I finish doing this. Here. So I'm just going to copy this and just replace them. So home about contact, here should be service or whatever it is you want to have in your menu. It's up to you. So I want to have this here. I'll save this now. I'll just come here and refresh. So you can see we have it. So this is a list tag. We have these bullets kind of listing here. Home, about, contact, service. So just a quick demonstration. We'll just come back to that. If we want to do a list tag, we have UL, another list, which we have this here. Let's see. We have list of food items. Let's say, for instance, egg. Here. egg, bread, meat, and what else? Flour. All right, so if we save this, I will come here. I'm down here. You can see we have them here, list items. So we can have this on another list. Another list gives you more like this bullet points, kind of numbering. So if we want it to be different, here what we can do, we can change this to OL here if we want it to be different. So this will be OL. OL stands for ordered lists. So this will give it a more unified kind of numbering, 1, 2, 3, 4 here. So if we want this to, we can say type equals to either A or B or 1 or 2 or 3, or we can even use Roman numerals, for instance. So if I use Roman numerals, capital letters, Roman numerals. So this means that instead of showing 1, 2, 3, it's going to show IV, and this kind of numberings in capital letters, because I indicated that the type should be I in capital letters. So if I save this and I refresh, and we have this here. Okay, so if I change this just a little again, change this to small letters, to A, save this here, and I refresh, and then we have this. If I wanted to start from a particular maybe number, I can say start equals to, now this one has to take in an Arabic numeral, so either it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, regardless of what type you're using. So the type, whether the type is a Roman numeral or an alphabet, so this has to take in the Arabic number system. So if I say start from 4 here, so you can see it to start from D, I think here starts numbering from D. Okay, so hopefully that makes a lot of sense. So now back to this header. Let's say heading, a menu bar that we want to create. So I have this lined up for me. So what I can do now is to design this here, just add some stylings to see how this works out. So for the styling, I'm gonna say I think I should do this here. Okay, so here I'm gonna say asterisk. Now this asterisk means select all for all elements, okay, within this within the document. You can say margin, set the margin to 0. I set the padding to 0 as well. Now if you do not want let's go ahead and see. Yeah, so you can see there's no padding, there's no margin, everything's been set to 0. Now, if you do not want your elements to be selected, maybe you do not want people to copy your text, what you can do, you can set user select to none here. So you can say user select and set it to none. Okay, save this. I'm here. So refresh this so you can see the text can be copied no matter how hard I try. The text can be copied now. Okay. Hopefully that makes a lot of sense. So for the container, I'm going to start the container, which you can see here. I gave this a class of container. I'm going to start the container. I'll say dot container here. I'm going to give it a width of 100%. I'm going to give it a height of 60 pixel. I'm going to give it a position, a fixed, give it top. I want to give top 0. I want to give left 0 as well. For background, I can give them background. Which background do I give to this? For background color, I can give them RGB. I can give RGB, we'll just say 51. This should be 89, and this should be I think I should say maybe this should be 223. Okay, so I'll just save this and let's go ahead and check this out. See what we have here. So you can see I have this mentioned for me. Not done. I said fixed, so that's so I can see this is fixed no matter how bulky the website is, everything just scrolls under it, and this just remains visible because we said the position should be fixed. Okay, so what I can do next here, I will target now view L, the ordered list. I think, did I use UL? I think, let me go back to this here. I think I should use UL here. So that's let's put my UL tag here. So come right here. So what I can do here is to see, excuse me, UL and the list style. List style. I want to use list style. I'll set it to none. Now, what this list style will do, it will remove those bullet points which I really do not need for this here. So I can set width to 75% as well. I'll set height to 60 pixel. I'm going to set margin 0 auto. This is another way of centering your elements as well too. So here, let's refresh this and see. You can see something happened there. The text are not visible yet, so I think we'll start that in a bit. Next, we'll see nav. The tag now we use UL and LI. The list tag. Again, we're styling that now. For the width, we'll see this should be 20%. Let's float it to the left. So let's also text align, set it to center. Let's set the line height to 60 pixel. Text transform. I'm gonna set text transform to uppercase, so everything here will be in uppercase. Let's set cursor to pointer, so that when it's hovered upon, we have the pointer feature to it. Okay, so I think here what I can do, I can set nav UL, LI and A, the anchor tags. Now I'll set the color to, I think the color should be white, 1, 2, 3. So text decoration, that's the underline feature. I don't want it to be underlined because by default when you use anchor tags on HTML elements, the text is usually underlined. So I'll just set this to none here. So hopefully that should make a lot of sense. So what I can do here, save this, come here and refresh this. So you can see we have this sorted out, for us, which you can see. Hopefully that makes sense. So one more thing I can do, I can set I think, okay, I already set background color for this one. Okay, so I already set background color. I can set text transform uppercase, and let me see if I set transition. Transition here. Let's set all 0.5 seconds. Set ease. Okay, hopefully that should do the trick. So for that, I want to do hover. So I need to do hover here. So we'll say nav UL LI hover. So now I want to do such that whenever we hover on this, our color is shown. It's shown a different color. It's shown. It just sort of focuses, on that. The color for that particular focus changes. Is what I'm trying to demonstrate here. So here I'll just put this a color, a background. Can use background if I want to. I think I should use background. Just call this it's called sea green. Hopefully that should be evident here. So I'm going to refresh this so you can see now. You can see the sort of animation, it is being animated. as you can see here. Let me set this to maybe 1 second so that you can see what I'm talking about. Usually I will not use 1 second anyway, to be way too slow, so you can see. So hopefully this makes a lot of sense here. This tutorial, getting started with HTML and CSS. So if you like this tutorial, leave a like, leave a comment, let me know how you think about it. I'd also like you to subscribe to the channel to get more exciting content like this. Thanks for watching.